Getting a bit bored of that. Welcome back to another review. Today I'm going to talk about The Shape of Snakes by Minette Walters. Straight off the bat I'm going to tell you, this is a great book. Again, I discovered her in a $2 bin, and what a good one to find. I'm happy to tell you that I rated this a 10 out of 10 on my scale. I read this only in a few days. I couldn't put it down. Totally captivating, engaging, thrilling, such a page turner. It was so well written. Minette Walters, I hadn't heard of her before. She was born in 1949, still active. Didn't publish her first book until 1992. It took her 2.5 years to write it, and she got knocked back by heaps of publishers until one day she got picked up by one, and 4 months later she won the Crime Writers Association John Clancy Award for Best First Novel. She hasn't written a lot of books, about 19, which is still a fair few, and I've just bought another 8. I found a bargain. They're all standalone books. She did take a break, and then she started to write about historical things like the Black Plague or the Black Death. So, Minette Walters. Now, interesting name, Minette. And another reason why I think it's interesting is because in this book, the narrator is only known as M. Ranelagh. Ranelagh, I think it is. M. And to be honest, I was 92 pages into the book before I realised, I don't think I know this person's first name. So I went back and trying to find this person's first name, and lo and behold, it's never exposed. And then I read the back and I thought, oh, okay, it still just refers to M. So that was intriguing. Another interesting thing about this book is the way it incorporates letters and reports. So this is a story about a black lady that gets killed, and one of the neighbours takes it upon herself to get justice for her. She's dismissed as a bit of a kook and gone crazy, and she did go a little bit crazy as far as her behaviour was concerned. People didn't like the way she was behaving. She got fobbed off by the police, and the neighbours didn't like the way she was carrying on, and because some of the neighbours are racist, and they didn't like her being a N lover. Anyway, so she gets a lot of flack, and she has a difficult relationship then with her husband, and things happen and they end up going to Hong Kong and even Australia and come back. But over 20 years, she's never let this go. She hasn't really brought it up with her husband anymore, but she doesn't let it go, and she does a lot of things in the background to gather information, sending letters and emails and finding out stuff. And she slowly starts putting it all together. Now this woman, M, oh my God, she's such a tenacious investigator. She's got some balls. She might have been quite timid 20 years earlier and got pushed around and made to feel stupid. But she slowly comes out of her shell as far as not letting people get away with things and confronting people and that sort of stuff. And she gets there in the end. I was a little bit surprised by the outcome, but it was a good surprise as far as I like books that aren't obvious. I've mentioned that before, that I like how things are a little bit different. So it wasn't who I expected anyway. As I said, the book's about this black woman that gets killed, and there's a lot of secrets being kept amongst the neighbours. And she nuts pretty much all of it out. She discovers things that they've done to this poor woman over time. And so this black woman, they pick on her because they think she's just a crazy old black woman. But she actually isn't. She's quite smart and a nice person, but she suffers from Tourette's syndrome, and she's a heavy woman and that sort of thing. And they can pick on her for a lot of things. And kids picked on her and made fun of her and teased her, and people stole her stuff. But anyway, so M. Ranelagh, over 20 years, she nuts it all out, confronts all these people individually and in groups, and even the policeman that was investigating. And she makes these people feel very uncomfortable. I mean, we're talking about some of these people were just sort of scummy, feral people that just known crime all their lives, and you know, she confronts them and puts stuff on them, lays it on the line, you know, and initially they just wanted to dismiss her, but when she sort of counteracted it with other things that she found out, she gets everything out of everybody, and it's really good. So she wants to get the case reopened again. So I won't say whether she does or not, but I was pretty happy with the outcome of the book, put it that way. It's only 380 pages. Yeah, it's a decent thickness, but I just couldn't put it down. I woke up and I just wanted to start reading. I just read the little blurb on the back. Publishers Weekly says, Walters has again created a consuming main character and tightly coiled plot that whiplashes with cruel efficiency. Sometimes, yeah, they're just throwing around words, but it's sort of true. This one's pretty good. It does whiplash. And talking about cruel, heads up though, there is some talk of animal cruelty in this, and it might put some people off. But look, it's written in a way that you can still read it, but you might just cringe and think, oh God, that's horrible. But it's one of those books, which I like, that creates emotion in you. Some of the characters, you just want to punch their face in, and some of them are frustrating, and some of them you laugh at, and so that's good. And I like when a book does that to you. There's a lot of good words I had to look up in the dictionary in there. Well, not a lot, but there was some that I had to look up. I'm pretty good with vocabulary, but like understanding words that I come across. But the trouble is, I don't know, it might be my memory or whatever, but I have trouble recalling good words. So when I do reviews like this, I use pretty simple language. But anyway, it's a good book, that's for sure. And it's written so nicely. The pictures are painted really well by Minette Walters. And I wonder what the shape of snakes referred to, and there is a reference to it later in the book eventually. She writes about characters that involved around isolation, rejection, marginalisation, family dysfunction, and pretty much all that's in this book. But she likes justice and revenge. So of the 19 standalone novels she's written, the first 5 have become TV adaptations by the BBC, and her 8th one, Acid Row, is being talked about to be made into a movie. I'll just read you the back. It is 1978 in London. The winter of discontent. Strikes are an everyday occurrence, and the Ranelagh's neighbour, Mad Annie, is discovered dying in the gutter, almost obscured by piles of rubbish. The other residents do little to disguise their satisfaction at her death, and in this environment of growing racial and class unrest, M. Ranelagh, the narrator, takes up a solitary and dangerous, unpopular defence against the vilification of Mad Annie. So dangerous that M and her husband Sam flee the poisonous climate of England. 20 years later, they return from overseas, and M begins acting on her secretly and painstakingly collected research to piece together what really happened. But is it justice for Annie's murder she's after, or is it revenge for something very different? Anyway, Minette Walters, totally recommend this book. 10 out of 10. One of the best ones I've read in a little while. And highly engaging. Get onto it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.